and smoking ribs, getting ready for the NFL opening day. In an hour and a half, the Vikings and Green Bay play, and that's the chance for me to give people a lot of crap, even if the Packers are going to get beat. Because, those Vikings fans always have that, we're going to the Super Bowl thing, and then it never happens. Scott Frost is fired. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit shocked that it happened this fast. I thought that Trev Alberts would wait until the buyout dropped, which is October 1st, but clearly somebody out there gave him a gob of money and just said, here's a gob of money, get rid of this guy. So I'm going live real quick to let you know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and hopefully get some input for some of you people about what you're feeling and thinking. What do I think about this? I'm shocked that it happened this quick. But I think it was pretty clear from last night's game against Georgia Southern that this wasn't going to work. I mean, if you're one of those people that thinks that, he needed more time, or he could just fix the defense, there was never any progress from the beginning of this till the end. None. I know that we like to convince ourselves and wanted him to be successful. And that's probably the biggest thing about this is the disappointment you probably all feel right now that, in 2018, when Scott Frost was hired, we thought, okay, it was the second coming of Tom Osborne and everything's going to be fine. And he's a guy who knows how to fix the program. He even said, I know how to win at Nebraska. Then he proceeded to not do that at all. And that part is disappointing. But if you think I'm going to be sad about this, I'm not. Scott Frost probably, he walks away with more money than I'll ever see in my lifetime. And I don't feel bad for a guy who spent over 4 years throwing everybody else under a bus. That includes, by the way, former Husker Greg Austin, who was his offensive line coach last year, who I loved watching play as a Husker, because he was just tough as hell. And for him to just get tossed by the wayside really bothered me a lot. So where do we go from here? Mickey Joseph is named interim head coach. He becomes the first black head coach of any sport at Nebraska, which I find shocking. I didn't realize that. But it's about time. And maybe this team can rally around Mickey Joseph. Because I'll tell you this team has talent. This team has players. This team has speed. We don't have problem. We have out-recruited the rest of the Big Ten West for the last 10 years. And I'm going to keep saying that until you guys get that into your heads. Our recruiting is not a problem. Okay? The problem is when you have a team that has talent and they are not playing well, generally those problems come down to trust issues. In other words, people don't have faith in the head coach or their position coaches, and therefore they don't play well when it's time to show up on the field. And unless you're going to be a person that looks at themselves and changes themselves, that's endemic to a person. That's not going to change. And quite frankly, I take that from decades of IT consulting, where I had to go into companies, and I know most people go, well, you work on computers, what do you know? Well, most of my job was going into companies, doing projects or figuring out why they failed. And in order to do that, you had to learn how to read people really well, executives and the people that were working underneath them, and determine what motivated them, what didn't motivate them, why they were against this thing, or how to push them out of the way if they were a problem. Okay, so I have had experience in doing that stuff. And I guess when I look at Nebraska and our problems, I see not problems with athleticism, speed, or scheme. What I see is problems with trust and dysfunction. And that's what gives me hope in going into the rest of this season. And maybe Trev Alberts thought that too. I'll tell you a joke, okay? And this is a joke. This is not a stand-up comedian's joke. This is a joke that you would use to open up a speech, let's say in front of business people. It's called the 3 envelopes joke, okay? And you can look it up. But in my case, it is an IT. So the an IT director is fired. He agrees to meet with the incoming IT director and give the guy some advice in dealing with his job. And he tells the incoming IT director, I've left you 3 envelopes in your top desk drawer. When things get bad, pull out an envelope, open, and there's your advice. So the new IT director is in his job for 6 months. He knows his staff is restless and he knows his staff is having a hard time. So he pulls out the desk drawer, opens up the first envelope, and it says, blame your predecessor. So next project manage meeting he goes into, he starts going, we had this problem because of Bob, the outgoing guy. We have these issues because of him. We're trying to fix them, but they're his issues. And we're still trying to fix them. And that does fine. The staff buys it for a while and they go on another 6 months, another 8 months, 10 months, whatever it is, pick a time. He notices everybody's getting restless. So he pulls the second envelope out. The envelope opens it up. One word, reorganize. So he reorganizes. He moves people around, keeps them busy trying to figure out who they're supposed to report to, moves this guy over there, makes that guy a manager, puts these people into that guy. Everybody's happy for about a year. He's another year into his job. He's getting paid well, but he notices his staff is starting to come apart and things are going badly. So he realizes it's time to pull out the third envelope. And he looks down at it, opens it up, looks at the envelope, and it says, prepare 3 envelopes. Now, I told this joke years ago in IT. I did a lot of public speaking. I have told this joke in front of people, and they laugh, but it's a nervous laugh. And normally I follow it up with, I guess I just described some of your lives. Now, if we take that joke and look at realistically, I have just described Scott Frost's tenure at Nebraska. Except for one thing. He didn't wait 10 months to start blaming Mike Riley. He's waited about 10 minutes to tell us all that Mike Riley destroyed the program. Now, was that true? I don't think Mike Riley left the program in good shape, but sitting there and blaming the guy before you for 2 years really put where you're not making any progress. We wasted those 2 years. And we could have looked at this objectively and said, this guy isn't getting anywhere. And we've wasted 5 years on Scott Frost and he didn't get anywhere. And if you're still a Scott Frost supporter, I don't know what to tell you. He wasn't going anywhere. The offense was not fine. The offense couldn't block. They can't block. And we're going to, like I said, the team will rally around Mickey Joseph going forward. That's my hope. Will it happen? You know what? It has as much a possibility as happening as suddenly Scott Frost pulling his head out of his ass and beating Oklahoma and the rest of the Big Ten teams that are in front of us. Okay? And I firmly believe that. And it is sad that this didn't end up better. It really is, because we wasted 5 freaking years and I'm getting old. It's about me. Hopefully it's about you too. All right, let me look through some of these comments. I've successfully ignored them up till now. Man. Okay, let's go with Nick Kinnaman. It's an interesting time right now. Go Big Red. Here's what's interesting about it for me personally. For months I've been told I'm negative. If I was just not negative, somehow their positive energy would make this all better. I think that's kind of weird. But here's the thing for you guys that kept telling me I was negative. Well, I'm positive now. I am. And what's going to happen to y'all that were all let's be positive? Are you going to be positive? You're just going to go, okay, we'll just go on, let Trevor Roberts make the decision as to what's next? Or are you just going to hang on to this? Scott Frost needed more time. Is that going to be you, Mr. Negative? I'm guessing it is. All right. Let's see. Grass. Okay. Grass went to the game last night. Never seen Husker Nation so absolutely dejected. It was bad. Todd told us that in Slack too, that it was absolute desolation. And it was damage. Uh, Seth Buddy says Urban Meyer. We'll get to what we think are good coaching hires. We'll put a list together and we'll go through them. Chris Tussing, thoughts on Bill O'Brien? Bill O'Brien, I think, is one of the really good coaching candidates. Again, we'll cover a lot of that better. Bernard Sonny Corella says word on the street is Alberts watched Frost blame individual players and coaches last night in the locker room, and that made a decision. That has been look. There's a lot of people who kept comparing Frost to Osborne, which I think is really incredibly insulting to Tom Osborne. It really is. It took 20 years to Tom Osborne. It didn't take him 10, 20 years to win freaking games or championships because he won a Big 8 conference championships in the meantime. But you know what? Osborne didn't blame other people. You know what else he did? Remember those years in the before the big 90s thing where everybody was angry at Osborne because he couldn't win bowl games and he couldn't win any. He changed. He took his defense, changed from a 5-2 to a 4-3. He made other changes, and I'll cover those in another video sometime soon. But he made other changes. He was willing to change so that he could get better and become the championship coach that we all know and love. There's no indication anywhere in Scott Frost's tenure at Nebraska that he was willing to change. He changed offensive coaches, but he didn't change him. And so the whole constant blaming other people thing really, it really bothered me. Okay. Cornhusker Corner, thanks for being here, John. I've got about 15. I have to go change ribs out. I don't know how you guys smoke ribs, but it's the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours of smoking, 2 hours in aluminum foil, and then 1 hour. I normally don't put any barbecue sauce on them because I think barbecue sauce is a religious choice. You got your Carolina, I think, vinegar-based sauces, and you got your brown sugar-based sauces, and then you got hot stuff. Anyway, I have to go quickly finish that from my family because it's NFL opening day. The Packers and the Vikings. I mentioned that when I started. All right. I don't see really anybody wants to threaten my life or anything, which is good. Okay, Freebird says Bobby Petrino. Oh my God, dude. Bobby Petrino, no. Bobby Petrino loved his offense, left his defense in a shambles, and he was a good coach for like 2 years, and then things would blow up in his face. And he has his own demons out there to hide. So, is he available? Yeah, but he's available for a reason. Brando Sports World, John, one thing I love about you, and I know many others do, is that you are real, you are authentic, and I hope you keep doing this for another 50 years. We all have a little John in us. That last line's a little weird. Another 50 years, oh my God. Hopefully they're going to be good Nebraska football years if it's another 50 years, but that would make me incredibly old, and I'm kind of old enough as it is. But thank you for the compliment. Kevin Turdy, this is the right move and timing 100%. How would you have felt about Frost if Treb planned on saving the $7.5 million and a 1-2 coach? A 1-2 Frost coach team beat OU in a high-scoring thriller. We did have this discussion this morning about the fact that some people were afraid Frost would turn it around and get to an 8-4 season, and people feared that. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I kind of feared that because I looked at it and I thought if he doesn't beat the last 4 teams on our record, none of this stuff matters. And I think I've said that earlier. So was that a fear? After watching us play, no. I didn't have any fear of that at all because we weren't going to turn it around. Our defense is god-awful, horrible, and our offensive line is non-existent. Like I've said in videos, we have some really good players, and maybe this gets them to, pull their stuff together and have some confidence in where they're going to go the rest of the season. Fog Shadow, Nebraska needs to take it slow and steady and fight the right man for the job. This is actually true. I'll probably do another video about what we face as challenges in the near future. Brian Anderson, John, how dare you ignore me? I'm even wearing my long-haired long white-haired wig and prep for your live. Come on, man. That's kind of weird. Hey, here, I did this. Okay. I actually put together a site and I will sell Corn Nation t-shirts. I decided a little bit ago that I was not going to sell any Scott Frost negative t-shirts because number one, I figured they'd be short-lived. But number two, I thought, you know what? I don't want to contribute. We don't need to beat each other up about this stuff. We really don't. I mean, Scott Frost has been fired. This is over. Let's go on and see what happens next. We don't need to go to the Frost supporters in our life and beat them up about it. We just need to ignore them. But I think if we're all going to be Nebraska fans together, I think that we can all agree that we love Nebraska football. And there's been a lot of other fans of other programs, Michigan, Tennessee, Florida, Oklahoma, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of other people that have said, we'd like to see Nebraska get good again. So those people, I think, have a fair amount of respect for us as well, too. So let's just put this behind us as Husker fans and go on and just accept it as fact and see what happens for the rest of the season. I mean, I'm willing to do that. Let's see, Urban. There's more Urban Myers. Mark Stoops. M. Raider says we have all season to find a coach. How do we fix this defense? Man, we do have all season to find a coach. Mickey Joseph gets an audition. I think that's interesting. I mean, Frost was going nowhere. We have Mickey Joseph. It's like a free trial. If he is a good motivator, he certainly seemed to be a good recruiter. I think that, I don't know, he's never had a head coaching experience, but on the other hand, Nebraska fans, I think, would accept him because he is a Nebraska guy. I think we'd be over that. But if he does a good job, can you turn him down? And you really haven't, you haven't gone out and beat the bushes and had to throw $12 million at a guy. You're probably going to have to give him money, but the $12 million that Haas brought up the other day just bugged the. Oh my God! My heart rate went up, almost fell over. You know what? I think that I'm going to be done because I need to go get on with the smoking and cooking that I'm going to do for my family. I'm also going to make smoked mac and cheese. Holy shit! I need to get that going. Smoked mac and cheese. You ever had it? Okay, you guys. Thank you for joining me. You all take care of yourselves. I don't know. Go buy a t-shirt here. Hey, more support. I can do this more, I guess. Or I don't know. Okay. Take care of yourselves. And let's change this motto. Let's change it to say, hey, there is hope. Fucking A.